Hi friends, I was just editing my video. Here comes Lumpy. I was just editing my video and I realized that I did not film an intro, which is probably good because the video is quite long. I had an implant for my tooth put on over here today. So I had this big grand plan to come home from my procedure and just do my editing, which I did, and I'm ready to post my video and realizing I don't have an intro. So here's my intro. I'm going to show you my beautiful sailor collection, near and dear to my heart. I had shared before my Esterbrook collection, and I did like a question of what people wanted to see. So some folks were interested in my sailor collection. So here it is. I hope you enjoy it. Also in my last video, people liked seeing Mr. Lumpy, so he had perfect timing in coming to say hello to you. All right, everybody, I hope you enjoy today's video. Here's my collection in its entirety. There is one pen from here that I am planning to sell, and the rest I'm going to hold on to because I love my sailor pens. These are the Sailor Minis. I have two. The Pro Gear Slims are right here. I have 7 Pro Gear Slims. This is the 1911 style, as is this one right here. The 1911s are cigar shaped. The Pro Gear series has the flat top. And then these three are my Pro Gears. These are my favorite over here as far as comfort level and stuff. Why don't we start with this tray here and I will go through everything. I'm gonna sit so my voice might sound a little bit different once I'm down here. Some of these are inked up, so I will show a quick writing sample if it is inked. I also have some of my sailor inks, but I don't know the name of a lot of these because they're in Japanese. I do love sailor inks. They're some of my favorites. Why don't we start with the very first sailor pen that kicked things off? I will never get rid of this pen because, wow, I have such nostalgia over this pen. I have seen so many YouTubers chat about how this is their first sailor pen because, like me, many people were able to get this for a great deal on Amazon. You can really find some great prices for sailors. You just waive your guarantee that you get if you buy it from an authorized dealer. I've only bought two of my sailor pens off of Amazon, and this is one of them. I think right now you can get it for about $78. This was my first 14 karat gold nib, and Sailor is known for the feedback sound that you get and feeling that you get when you write with their gold nibs. And the feedback sounds like a very sharp pencil. So if you've never written with a Sailor, that's the sound that you can expect to hear from that. I don't think that I have any ink in this one, although I might. I was testing a bunch of these. Oh, I do. I was testing a bunch of these before I started this video, and I was surprised by how many of them were writing, and I haven't touched them in months. I'm not the best about cleaning out my pens unless I'm using one for a currently inked. I'm a little nervous about this one because this, oh, look at that. No problem at all. This, I believe I ended up putting carbon black ink in here and deciding like this would just be a great everyday writer, which I haven't written with this in a while. I might put this with my common planner because this is perfect for that. This has a medium fine nib. This is the Autumn Moon. I've seen it called many different names, but this is from their Shikiori series, I believe. And this is Autumn Moon, and this has a medium fine nib. What's interesting about this pen is I've shared this story before. I'll share it again really quickly. I bought this pen. It was quite an investment for me at the time. And then I also picked up a bottle of Ferris Wheel Press Stroke of Midnight, which is like a blackish blue and it has a little bit of shimmer in it. What a bad combination. I was so discouraged because I put that ink in this pen. It wrote so dry, it was skipping, it had hard starts. I was really so sad about my first experience with a 14 karat gold nib, and I was putting so much stock in enjoying this pen. And what you learn as a fountain pen user and collector, and if you're in this hobby for a while, is you learn that not all pen and inks like each other or complement each other or go with one another. I learned very quickly that that was not a good combo. I still love Ferris Wheel Press Stroke of Midnight ink. and I still love this pen. They just do not get along very well. So I tend to put just well-behaving inks in here because it is a medium fine nib. All the Sailor inks will work great in here, but I do think that I could probably do a little, I don't know, that's not smudge proof. So maybe that isn't carbon. I'm not sure what's in here, but it writes beautifully. For the longest time, I only purchased Pro Gear Slims because they were much less expensive than Pro Gears. And then once I tried a Pro Gear, I thought I would never go back to the Pro Gear Slim. And I had sworn them off for a little while. However, what I like about the Pro Gear Slim that I don't get with the Pro Gear is that these are very postable. So if you're somebody who likes to post your pens, this is a fantastic size to post. And it's very comfortable posted. I love the fact that I can post a Pro Gear Slim pen. I think as I've gotten further along in the hobby, I've leaned towards a lot of larger pens that I can't post, and it's kind of refreshing to be able to post it. I also love that there's a very subtle shimmer. The light's coming in. This is all natural lighting that I have right now, so I love that little shimmer. And yeah, this is a neutral pen, so you can put all different colors in here and have a really good time with it, and I love it. This pen right here, I bought secondhand in a bundle. I believe it was on Poshmark. I got like 3 or 4 pens. This was the most valuable pen that I got, and with this also came the box that it came in. Even though I purchased this pre-owned, my seller was fantastic. She sent me the ink. She sent me the box that it came in. This is an extremely light ink, and I just never use it because it's so light. So I actually just keep it in the box. And this is the pen that I plan to sell. So I purchased a lot of pens in my journey secondhand. And what I'm finding with these secondhand pens is that unless I buy it from a friend or there's some reason why I buy it other than it's a great deal, I'm finding that I'm just not as attached. And since I have so many Pro Gear Slims, this is just not one that I really reach for. It's almost like a salmon color pink. It's very nice. This also has a 14 karat gold nib, I believe. I think this is a fine nib, according to the box in here. This is all the original packaging. I just never really loved this pen. For no other reason than I just don't reach for it. It's not sentimental to me, and I have plenty of Pro Gear Slims. I'm going to do a big destash in January once the holidays are over and life gets calm. I always think life is going to calm down. It doesn't usually. But I'm taking that one out of the lineup because that is not one that I am keeping. This one is actually pretty special to me as well because I purchased this at Yoseka. This was my first big purchase at Yoseka, and I went in wanting to buy this in the Pro Gear size and was mentally prepared to pay the price, and they were sold out when I got there. They have since reintroduced their series, and this is the Sailor Refresh. This is the second in the series. They have the Origin, the Refresh, and Home. I do not have the Origin. What's unique about this pen is that I was able to pick what nib size I wanted. And since most of the Pro Gear Slims come standard medium fine, I thought it would be fun to branch out a little bit. So I have this in a broad nib. This is my only Sailor that has a broad nib, and this is the Sailor Refresh. This is also 14 karat gold nib. This is also the only Sailor pen that I have with the silver trim. I definitely favor the more champagne gold over the harsher yellow gold. You can see the difference here. I'll show you up close, but this is my only silver trim pen. Silver tone trim. Let me see if I have any ink in here. All of my Sailor pens are also cartridge converter, which I actually like. They're just easy to clean. Oh, there's not much in there. I used to keep a Sailor Mano ink in here. Let's see if I can get some ink out of here. This is also a sign that I should be cleaning these pens. Let's see. This is the Sailor Refresh. There we go. This is in a broad nib. Oh, sorry, I'm writing in the shade over there. I'm not realizing that the sun is affecting this. This looks gray. I thought maybe it was guitar green, but it looks gray. Honestly, I have no idea what colors are in here because it's been so long since I've inked it up. I really love the broad nib, and it's not over the top broad. Like, let me compare it to, I think this is a broad nib on this TWSBI. This feels like it's a little bit of a drier ink. Actually, looks pretty similar, but it writes much smoother. It's a beautiful writer. So that 14 karat gold nib in the broad nib is really nice. These are so underrated, honestly. I love both of these pens. This is the Sailor Pro Gear Mini. Actually, I guess I have 3 pens that I bought on Amazon. This I bought in Japan at Maruzan at the bookstore. That's at Tokyo Station. This was from an older series and they were rolling out a new series of minis. So I got this really at a discounted price. I want to say it was like maybe $80 or $90. I know it was under $100. I just love it. This is also a little bit different in how it posts because you can see right here there are some threads. And I actually prefer this because you screw it on. It's like a full-size pen, which I really like that. When it's posted, let's just compare it to the Pro Gear Slim. It's just slightly shorter than the Pro Gear Slim when it's posted. And I just really think it's so comfortable and so portable. So I will often toss this in my bag with my traveler's notebooks. Usually on the go, I'll bring my weeks or my traveler's notebooks. Most of my other things stay here. Do I have ink in here? I do. And when I say I have not touched some of these pens in a while, and they're just writing right out of the gate. So this is a Sailor Pro Gear Mini. And this is in taupe. And I believe this is a medium fine. I love that the section is black. It's just a beautiful neutral color. I really enjoy this pen. And I loved this pen so much that I got Amazon gift cards for something. And I saw this and I really wanted this. This is actually on the newer side. When did I have this? I did just break out my spreadsheet to see the names of all of my Sailor pens and when I purchased them. Okay, so I paid $75 for this on Amazon. And this is the Zion, or the Zen, Z-Y-N-E. This is a Pro Gear Mini in a medium fine. And these retail for about $220, the mini, which I think is really steep for a mini. So both of these I got for under $100. This one in Japan, this one on Amazon. This is a great comparison. You can see the difference in the gold color. I really prefer this champagne gold, the lighter gold, to this yellow, but I do think it really works on this pen. I don't mind the yellow gold, but when I compare the two together, I will always kind of favor this. So I love this kind of peachy blush pink mini, and I just loved this color. I love the soft pinks, except this one does not have the threads, and it just pokes on like that. So no problem. I mean, it still posts really nicely. I wonder if there's a difference in size here. This one. The pink is just slightly longer, just ever so slightly, but still extremely comfortable. Do we have ink in here? Okay, we have one that does not have ink or that is dried out. Let me just see if I have this inked up. This is such a pretty pen. I really love the portability of the minis. This looks really dried out. I think I'm just gonna throw this out. I'm gonna put this aside to clean. I'll have to clean this one out. I should probably order a Sailor converter so that I can have a little fun with this. That is fantastic. So, okay, that is this tray here. And of course the one that I'm selling. So let's move that over and bring over my next tray. I'm gonna come back a little bit and try to move out of the shade here. I'll try to do all my writing over here so it's in the light. Next up, I'm going to talk about these two pens because these were purchased at the same time. And this was that trip I often reference that Jay went to Japan in 2022 I have since gone back to Japan with Jay. We went in August of 2023. This was from his trip December of 2022. And as it stands right now, we're planning to go back in March, and I will be going with him. But I had just gotten into pens in August or September of 2022, and I was really ramping up. When he told me he was going to Japan, I lost my mind. And I said, you have to go to Itoya. I had created a wish list, and I was watching so many videos on pens. So both of these were new releases at the time. So we'll talk about this one first. This was the Sailor Shikiori 5th anniversary pen. And this was released. It was a big deal. It was sold out in the United States. So it was such a treat that he was able to get this for me. This was like one of the last things I added to my list. I kind of gave him a list of things that I would like, and he ended up just bringing them all home, which blew my mind. Okay, on their website, it talks about the Shikiori series, which means 4 seasons, coming September of 2022. So this, like I said, was sold out in the US. After the first series released in 2017, the design of this pen depicts the scenery of rice paddies whose colors keep changing throughout the 4 seasons. The shape is reminiscent of a single grain of a single grain of rice, and the coloring is based on the image of fresh rice and rice ears. Minori means bountiful harvest in Japanese. I love that the section is this beautiful green next to this very light blue, and the finials are in this clear resin. And I think the cap is supposed to signify the sun, the flecks of sun coming through on the rice paddy. So this is a really beautiful pen. I do have some ink in here. I don't think I have the 5th year anniversary ink, but I use this a lot. So this is the Sailor. I think I have Tom's Studio Mallard in here, I think. Shikiori. And this is a medium fine, and this is writing very fine. Yeah, this is really pretty, and it's the only 1911 I have in this size, and it was just so thrilling to be able to get this because it was a real hot commodity here in the States. Also, around the same time, they did their holiday release, and they came out with this Christmas pudding, which I just thought was so much fun. And I was very excited about this. I don't know if this was sold out at the time, but I just think the combination of colors, I don't know how Sailor does it, but so many of their combos I wouldn't necessarily put together, but you see it all together and it just really works. So this has like the green cap, semi-transparent with the sparkles in it. And then I love the body with the kind of chocolate brown, chocolate pudding. And then the section here is just that lighter caramel color. And I also love on this that the Sailor logo on the finial is in red. It's very festive without being so over the top Christmassy. And I just find it to be a really fun pen. These 2 pens right here are the darkest Sailors in my collection. Most of the Sailors that I get tend to lean towards pastels or muted soft colors. I guess this is darker too, my taupe, but most of my collection is on the lighter side. I'm not sure if I have ink in here. This is crazy. I have not touched this in a while. I'm not sure what's in here, but let's take a look at the converter, see what's going on in here. It's pretty impressive. I would just have a cartridge in there. It's probably just a black cartridge. It's pretty impressive that I cannot touch these for so long and they just write very well. I don't reach for this one that often, but this definitely scores points in the sentimental category. Any of those pens that Jay brought home for me that first trip are very special to me. And also it's a pen that I can kind of tuck away for the year and bring out for the holidays and have a little nostalgia attached to that first trip to Japan that Jay took that December. It also reminds me of when I first started collecting pens. It was a limited edition and it's lovely. This is called Chocolate Pudding. And this is also in a medium fine, but I have to say it is writing more broad than this one. That Shikiori was writing extremely fine. I really do love Sailor pens. I feel like every time I write with a Sailor, I'm like, you need to write with this every single day. And for the most part, I always have a Sailor in my rotation. Okay, this was the first 21 karat gold nib that I bought from Sailor. This was an Endless Pens deal, and I still think that this is such a beautiful pen. This is the Winter Rain. I know people who have collected all of the ones from this series because they have that like milky, translucent look to them. There's no shimmer in this. I thought I was catching a real subtle shimmer in the cap here. This is absolutely beautiful. It's like a very soft lavender. It could almost even lean pink in some cases. When you see it next to like my Hachimonjiya, you can see that it is definitely more purple than pink. I love this. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I think, is this Hara Hara? I'm not sure what ink this is. Here's my one thing about this pen. See how the cap, the gold goes all the way down? I really love the look of that. I do. However, I don't know if it's just on this pen. You can let me know in the comments if this is the case with your Pro Gear Slims that are in this style as well, but it does not post very well, and it's very light on its own. I mean, it will post if I really push on it, but I don't want to mark up the bottom. It's feeling secure now, funny enough. Maybe I just never have pushed down so hard because I'm so afraid of marking this. Maybe it's not as much of an issue as I once thought. I think when I first got this, it was the most expensive Sailor I had bought, and I was really, really delicate with it. So maybe that was the issue, and it didn't post very well. But now it seems fine. I guess you just have to really push it on there because you can see the difference. I really like the all gold band. I love all the little subtle differences on some of these Sailor pens, and it's just such a lovely pen. The other thing that I really love that's unique to this pen, it's a 21 karat gold nib, and it's also bicolored. I love two-toned nibs. I'm just going to dip this one. This is such a beautiful combo. I do like inking this up in like January or February because it's such a beautiful winter pastel. Oh, that's gorgeous. Oh, Winter Rain. This is one of my favorite writers. This is why I love doing collection videos or currently inked, because it just reminds me that I have some really lovely pens. And this color combo is gorgeous. Look at that. See how it does loosen. I guess I just have to press it down a little bit more. I just want to keep writing with this. Wow, gorgeous. See, it does loosen. It does. That is the only downside to this pen. You can actually see it looks like some shimmer in the finial, in the clear finial. This is like one of the prettiest Sailor pens that I have. I just love it. And I'm not huge into purple inks, but I love the dusty purples. Isn't that just such a gorgeous combo? Let me bring this up close to show you. So beautiful. Yeah, this is a good one. That's a good one. Okay, next up, this was a bit of an impulse purchase, but I love it. I love it so much. This was the only pen that I've ever purchased at the Paper Mouse, which is a local stationery store in Newton, Mass. They are fantastic. I keep going back, and every time I go, I pick up notebooks or stickers, or I'll pick up inks, but this was the only pen that I purchased. So I just looked at my spreadsheet. I have December 23rd written here. We must have gone into town maybe for my husband's holiday party. The information I get from my spreadsheet is excellent, but it's also frightening to see how many pens I've purchased. But yeah, this is the Line Friends series. This is brown. I got it from the Paper Mouse. I love the little bear face on the finial, and I love the three colors. The darker section, this creamy brown, like almost like a hot chocolate, and then the nudish beigey. Oh, I love this color combo so much. It's one of my absolute favorites. And the ink that I had in here, and I don't think it's in here right now, is Saddle Brown from Diamine. I love it. I think it's the perfect ink in here. But you can also put like dusty pinks in here or browns that lean pink. I don't know what it is. There's just a softness to this. If I compare it to the taupe, you can see what like a cooler color this is. And then there's the Zion. There's just something about the shade of brown that I absolutely love with this pen. So I'm so happy I have this in my collection. They are a small business and they're local to me, so it's always nice to support a local business. There's Little Bear. So cute. I really love this pen. And just when I thought I was done with Pro Gear Slims, which I know better to say I'm done with anything, this came out. Oh, there was something about this series too that I just love. Not this series, this pen. This is from the Japanese Sweet series. I had often looked at, is it Sailor Manyo Nuts that has like the yellow and the top and bottom on the finial? I've always kind of admired that pen and loved the shade of it. I think it may be a little bit more olive. I don't own it, so I'm not sure. And it's one of those pens that every time I saw it in someone's video, I thought to myself, that's a really cute pen. I should get that pen. But there was something that was holding me back from it, and I'm just not pulling the trigger. And then when this came out, and it was this like, almost this like sagey matcha green, but the finials in this very, very light blush. Oh, I just love this combo. And it had the champagne gold. Like everything about this was just working for me. And again, this was sold out in a lot of places. I could not get it. And then Apple Boom had it available. And I had a very small credit at Apple Boom, but I was also able to use the Friends code, which anybody can use, and it gives you 10% off. And a lot of times I can't get 10% off on Sailor items. So between the very small credit that I had and the Friends code, I was able to get this for a decent price. And I had to wait several weeks because it wasn't in stock, but it was so worth it when it came in. I love it. This also came in a box and it came with an ink. And I mentioned in my previous video that I didn't love the ink that came with it. I found it to be pretty dark, although it's nice. I think this is it that came in the box with it. It's a beautiful writer. I believe I also got this in a medium nib. And this is the Sakuramochi. You can see how dark this ink is, and I think this is the ink that came with. And this is writing very broad, and it's also a dark ink, but I love this pen, and I just think it's so beautiful. I feel like Sailor does subtle gorgeousness so well, and I'm also seeing a very, very, very subtle sparkle. I love the subtle sparkle. I am still a sucker for Sailor pens when they have just the right combo. Here's a Sailor pen that I will not spend the money on that I absolutely love. It's the Poodle one that has like almost like a semi-transparent taupe cap. I love that pen so much, and I think it was a German exclusive. The cheapest I could find it for was $400, and I was just like, no, I can't do it. But I think that's currently the only Sailor that I'm pining for and don't have. It's such a rabbit hole with Sailors because they are expensive. They have so many limited editions. They have so many beautiful colors. You have to be careful with Sailor because you can really lose your mind, as I kind of have. I've tried to spread it out and use credits here and there and get a deal on Amazon and such, but yeah, I'm a fan. If we take the Shikiori 1911 out and also the one that I'm selling, the Sakura, this is kind of what I'm left with for my Pro Gear Slim collection. So they're lovely and all quite meaningful. All of these are. I mean, actually, the Sakuramochi was more of an impulse buy, but I do love it. I love it. But most of the other ones have a story. Let's move on to my Sailor Realo. And I never talk about this pen, and I don't use it very often. I got this for a really good deal on Amazon. So I had done a video about the Noom weight loss program, Noom. It's an app that I use. Even now, I'm not on the program. However, I still use the app to track my weight and some of the food that I eat. Every time somebody used my link, I got a $20 credit to Amazon, and I had no idea that I was getting this perk. One day I got an email that one of the coupons was going to expire, and I had no idea that I had any coupons. I just thought that I was giving a link. Anyways, it turned out I had like $120 in coupons, that I could redeem on Amazon. So I ended up getting this, I think, for nothing because I had so many Amazon gift cards. And then this was really wonderfully priced anyway. So the only hitch was that this was an extra fine, and sailor fines are pretty fine. And then extra fine is like next level. But I loved that it had an ink window. I absolutely love the color here. It was just a pen that I probably would not have bought on my own full price because I think this retails for close to $300 or maybe over $300. So I love this burgundy. This color is really one of my favorites right now. I love the ink window. It is an extra fine nib, 21 karat. The ink that I have, and I wish you could smell through the screen. This is an ink that I bought at the store in London called Choosing Keeping. This is a collaboration. I don't know this perfume company. A collaboration between perfumer H and Choosing Keeping to bring a fragrant air of inspiration to the writing desk. Notes of turpentine, oil, and pepperous wood fused with herbs and spices, set on the backdrop of dark woods of cedar and cade brushed with rose oil. The scent of this is to die for. I love it so much, but I have never had an ink that feathered and bled through paper as much as this. I mean, it is brutal. So it's so disheartening because I love the smell of it so much. I put it in my Mont Blanc and it was just like pouring out of my Mont Blanc pen, which is just disappointing. But the smell is so nice. That the only good thing about that is the fragrance is so strong, and I love it so much that even when you take the ink out of the pen, you can still smell the perfume on future inks that you put in there, which I don't know is great. So I was nervous about this in my Mont Blanc 149 because it has an ebonite feed, also because it was a vintage pen. So when it was just pouring out of there, I was worried it was going to like eat away at the ebonite. I don't know. I got really paranoid. So I cleaned it out of my Mont Blanc 149, but I can still smell it. And I think it's because ebonite is so porous, and I think it just stayed in there. I love the smell of it now. I just hope long term it doesn't do anything bad. But here I felt like this was a perfect pen for this ink because this is an extra fine. And even still, sometimes I get a little bleeding through, but I think I'm just going to use this in here because it really works. I also think this would work great in my Pilot E95S, which is also burgundy and also happens to be an extra fine. So I'm kind of limiting my use of this ink to those things, but just taking the cap off, it smells so nice. So this is the Sailor, and you can see how broad it writes because of the ink. I mean, this is an extra fine. Can you believe that? And an extra fine from Sailor. That just, I wonder if it's going through on the back, if you can see it. No, I have other things written on the back here. It's not going through. And this is just an oxblood color is what it's called. It just smells so wonderful. But I thought this was a really nice pairing for my Sailor Realo. And I don't really love extra fine nibs, so I feel like this adds some bulk to it, this ink. So it's really fun. It's really fun. I don't know what I'm drawing here. Yeah, very nice. I love it. I love it. A bit of a sleeper pen. This is definitely a pen I probably would not have paid full price for, but I essentially got it for free. And it was kind of a happy accident that these two colors match so well and that this ink is so tough in other pens. All right, now let's move on to kind of my prize possessions in my Sailor collection. And that would be my 3 Pro Gears. These are just, I love my Pro Gears so much, and this little guy has been through so much. We'll talk about that. First, we are going to talk about this pen right here, which is my most expensive Sailor pen. This is what I paid the most money for. For those of you who are familiar with the story, this is the 3rd pen in the Yoseka series. This is the home pen that they designed. They sent it off to Sailor, and when they got pricing back, it was much more expensive than they had anticipated it was going to be. Then when they shipped out, some people noticed right away that the gold was supposed to be that yellow gold, like that. And this is the champagne gold. The other mistake when they first sent these out is that this was supposed to be a two-toned nib. We had the choice to return the pen and get the original design, or they were going to refund us 10%. I opted for the 10% refund because I love the champagne gold. This is my first Pro Gear, and it was just such an incredibly beautiful writer. I got it in a medium nib. I just didn't want to change anything. The only sad part for me is that this is solid color. I love the two-tone nib, as I mentioned earlier. I kind of liked that I got one of the happy accidents and decided to keep it. I did notice with this that the medium line writes really broad. I thought that once I had a Sailor Pro Gear, that would be it. But then, of course, life happens and I ended up with two more that I will talk about. But this is a medium nib and it writes pretty broad. Let me see if I can find a section here that is not shaded. Home. It's not writing too broad right now. I just love how it writes. This is a medium. And I can't be positive, but I think the ink that is in here is from Wonder Pens. I think this is Tuna and Olives, but I'm not positive. I do like to go with like an olive green. I've also gone with like a caramel brown color because the finials have this beautiful olive, like grayish olive green color. There's so much going on in this pen without it being too much or tacky. It still is in that beautiful neutral place that I love, but you do have some options with different colors to use in here. So I love it. This is like a vanilla color, just so beautiful. I love my home pen. It's my first Pro Gear. I could post. It just doesn't feel as comfortable posted. So this is my ideal size. I love the Pro Gear size. These are definitely more pricey than the Pro Gear Slims. I feel like these pens went through so much. I don't ever want to get rid of it. It's just beautiful. So next up, this is one of my very favorites. This is the Every Rose Has Its Thorn. I thought this was just beautiful, pretty sentimental. Plus, it's such a gorgeous pen. It's just this very, very, almost like a cloud blue. It's got those subtle sparkles in there, rose gold trim, 21 karat gold, just gorgeous. If you have been following me for any length of time, you know that Lumpy got a hold of this. He ate the bottom part of this, and I thought I was going to die because I had just gotten it. I did not want to tell my husband that Lumpy had eaten it. I was heartbroken. Atlas Stationery replaced the entire thing. I had first reached out to Atlas. They told me to contact Sailor for replacement parts. I contacted Sailor. They told me to go back to my retailer. So I went back to Atlas and said that Sailor, didn't really want to work with me. And then I said, whatever it is, whatever I have to pay, the nib was perfect. The nib was perfect. Everything worked. I mean, I had basically scotch taped the back together. And then when I would post it, you wouldn't even see the damage. So I was posting this for a while. Anyways, Atlas gave me a brand new pen. Brand new. I sent them the old one. And this had nothing to do with affiliate stuff because Jay bought this separately. I think he used my link, but he just bought this outright. So it had nothing to do with my affiliation. This was just great customer service. They replaced this pen free of charge. I was so relieved because I had had it for less than a month. Anyway, just this weekend, we were in Florida and I had bought a new Mont Blanc ink. I got the Skywalker blue and I had this with me and I was cleaning it out in the bathroom and I dropped the pen. And now my tines are misaligned. Now I need to bring it to a Nibmeister. And I am just so sad. This poor pen. So now the tines are off. I was writing with this all the time. I loved to put sesame oil in here. That was like my favorite ink in this pen. I had also done like Sukio. Recently, I had put an ink in here that I was really excited about. Actually, I think I had it in my last peek in my pen case and it was just too light. So I was all excited to put this new Star Walker blue in here and now my tines are misaligned. So I don't know when I'm going to get to see a Nibmeister. It's minor though. I know that is fixable where the chewed body was not. But boy, this poor pen, it's been through a lot. Okay, and then this pen, my goodness, just so incredibly beautiful. I was eyeing this for a long time. It is a Hachimonjiya store exclusive. They sold out. People were spending astronomical prices to get it on the secondhand market. I wasn't willing to do that. And then I went to Stationery Fest and they had this. I beelined for the table. I knew I wanted this pen. I love it so much. So this is the Kubo Sakura Bloom Pro Gear, and it's a Hachimonjiya exclusive. Rose gold trim, everything about it I love. I got this in a medium nib. Oh, it's got this beautiful detail. It's got the flower on the nib. Absolutely gorgeous. I have like a darker pink in here. I haven't found my favorite ink for in here. Yeah, I have a dark ink in here, but it's still nice. Hachimonjiya, Jiya. Am I spelling that right? Kuboza. Sakura Bloom in pink. And this has a medium nib. So this pen, I had only had this for 10 minutes and I somehow it slipped out of my hand and it just went boom right onto a wood surface. And I feel like it just ever so slightly dulled the nib a little bit. So I feel like it just writes a little bit, I don't know. It's actually fine. It could just be in my head, but I feel like it writes a little more broad than it should. And maybe I did like my own teeny tiny little stub on there. The 21 karat nib is softer, so you have to be really careful. And of course, two of my most valuable and most precious Pro Gears, I have dropped both of these and, you know, messed with the nib. I don't think this is anything I would even have a nibsmith look at because you can see it's still writing so smooth. The feed keeps up beautifully. It's just such a gorgeous pen. But this little guy, my Pour Every Rose pen, this is one of my favorites. But these are my favorites. These are my Pro Gears. I'm sure I'll have another Pro Gear in my lifetime, but these are my favorite right now. That concludes my Sailor collection, so we can look at everything together. I always do very chatty videos when I do my collections. Pro Gear Slims over here. Pro Gear Minis, Pro Gear Slim Mini. This is the 1911 fifth year from Sailor Shikiori. This is the 1911 Realo. I love that this one has an ink window. And then, of course, Yoseka Home. Every Rose Has Its Thorn. And then my Hachimonjiya exclusive. There they are. There they are. I love my Sailors. And yes, the only one I'm selling is the Sakura. That's the only one that I didn't feel very attached to. The rest of these aren't going anywhere. They are just so gorgeous. Let me know your favorite Sailor, whether it's in my collection or your collection or one you have been looking forward to getting. Are you a sucker for Sailor releases? They are so beautiful. Do you like the feedback? I do. What I've learned about myself with pens, and this is what the problem is I like everything. Sometimes I'm in the mood for like a very toned down Japanese pen, very consistent nib. Other times I'm in the mood for my loud, Italian, bright, ornate pens. Sometimes I just want to pull out my Lamy Safari and just get down to business and journal with a German nib. I love it all. That's why we're here. I hope you enjoyed seeing my Sailor collection. It's a very special brand. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments. Be sure to subscribe if you would like to see more of my adventures with my pen collection. I would love to have you as part of my community here. So take care, everybody. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you soon. Bye-bye.